Han Li built a cave dwelling at the foot of a mountain on the island as a home for himself and Wen Saiyue. Wen Saiyue informed Han Li that Madame Fan had taken over as the head of the Miaoyan sect, which had become an affiliate of the demonic path, attracting a large number of demonic path cultivators. Han Li suspected that the demonic path was using the Miaoyan sect's female disciples to collect intelligence in the seas. But he decided not to get involved due to caution. Wen Saiyue provided him with the location of a demon beast's lair, and Han Li decided to leave and no longer have any debts between them. Han Li and Wen Simu conclude a deal, with the latter informing Han Li about the location of the windbreaking beast's lair in exchange for medicinal pills. Han Li examines the copper sheet, discovering it contains a cultivation technique for demon cultivators and that the writing is similar to that of the beast skin book. The copper sheet emits light, revealing a picture illustrating a demon beast cultivation technique, which consists of 36 different postures and hand seals. Han Li realizes that demon beasts also cultivate techniques, but he is unable to practice the demon cultivation technique. Disappointed, Han Li puts away the copper sheet in the beastskin book, determining to proceed to the Abyssal Sea region in search of the companion spirit grass. Han Li takes a month to reach the Abyssal Sea region and conceals his tracks cautiously. He sets up an illusion formation on an islet outside the windbreaking beast's lair to conduct surveillance. Han Li picked the guiding spirit grass, but was discovered by a rank 9 wind-splitting beast. The wind-splitting beast was curious about Han Li's presence and indicated that it had just completed stabilizing its transformation. Han Li realized there was no hope for escape and prepared to self-destruct the Cyan Azure Pearl, but was stopped by the wind-splitting beast. The wind-splitting beast was not a sea monster, but a hybrid between a wind-splitting beast and an avian monster, and had no intention of harming Han Li. The rift beast Feng Shi saw through Han Li's concealment technique, discovering that he was cultivating wood attribute techniques, so he didn't attack. Feng Shi took out his self-made verdant flame wine, claiming that it could help Han Li break through his cultivation bottleneck. Han Li doubted it and refused to drink. Feng Shi explained that he needed Han Li wood attribute cultivation technique to help him with an important matter. Han Li's cultivation level was insufficient, so he needed to break through with the verdant flame wine. If Han Li couldn't break through, then his life would serve as compensation for the verdant flame wine. Han Li's attack on the coral wall with his magic treasure was blocked by a restriction. Unable to break through, Han Li considered releasing his Golden Devouring Beetle swarm, but worried that it would take too long and be discovered by the demon cultivators. Han Li refined the jade flame wine, a slow process, during which he risked forcefully refining it, causing a huge loss of magic power. When 2/3 of the jade flame wine had been refined, the azure blue frost pearl became unstable, and Han Li wrapped it in jade flame wine, accidentally breaking through to the later stage of core formation. After the jade flame wine had been completely refined, Han Li consolidated his cultivation and pondered his next move. As the 6-month period drew near, an opening appeared in the coral wall, and the demon cultivators summoned Han Li outside. Han Li witnessed the conflict between the poisonous flood dragon and Feng Shi, and the atmosphere was tense. Feng Shi planned to refine a pair of lightning wind wings and invited the poisonous flood dragon and turtle monster to assist. The poisonous flood dragon expressed skepticism initially. Feng Shi revealed that he had studied for many years and had learned refining from human cultivators. He was confident that he had a 7,080 chance of success. After deliberation, the poisonous flood dragon and turtle monster agreed to assist Feng Shi, but their conditions were not disclosed. Han Li was present, pretending to be calm, but he was feeling uneasy in his heart, worried that the conditions would be unfavorable to him. While Han Li was protecting, he was attacked by humans, and the Dragon Zhao tribe took revenge. The Dragon Zhao tribe launched a beast tide against the humans because a Swani was killed and the Brahma Sacred Scroll was stolen. The Brahma Sacred Scroll records the ancient secret technique 3 Brahma Sacred Arts, which the Dragon Zhao tribe is interested in but is incomplete. The Dragon Zhao tribe suspects that Han Li knows about the Brahma Sacred Scroll and imprisons him, providing magic power to refine treasures. Feng Shi adds chaotic demonic qi to the emerald flame wine to control Han Li. Han Li joins Feng Shi, venomous serpent, and turtle monster in refining the Thunder Rock's bone wings. Feng Shi takes out the shattered Thunder Rock's bone wings, damaged but still AWE inspiring. The trio casts an array, activating the Earth Fire Pool. and using fire spirit clusters to envelop the bone wings. Venomous serpent and turtle monster use spirit threads to repair the bone wings, while Feng Shi uses light orbs to infuse lightning, merging the spirit threads into a silvery white color. 5 beams of light converge on the bone wings, forming a light shield. Feng Shi adds a cyan crystal, which liquefies and coats the surface of the bone wings. The trio injects their demon pills into the light shield, officially beginning the refining process. 3 monsters cultivate the wind thunder wings over a 5-month period, pushing their magic powers to unknown depths, while Han Li maintains his magic powers in a state of fullness. As the wind thunder wings are nearly finished, no baleful aura has appeared in Han Li's body, which might be related to the baleful qi expelling divine thunder. Han Li prepares a solution for escape while being prepared to be attacked from both the front and back. A month later, the fisher wind beast ceases cultivating. Its demon pellets luster slightly dim, its bone wings long and intact, and exuding a milky white and silver light. The monsters take back their demon pellet and close their eyes to rest and recover their magic power. Several days later, the fisher wind beast releases the protective light imprisoning Han Li. Wind Shi demands that Han Li provide wood attribute spiritual power and secretly plants wind spirit vigor into Han Li. Threatening him, the 3 monsters are preparing to fuse wind thunder spirit power and consume 10,000 year spirit liquid in order to ensure that their magic power is sufficient. Lei Peng's bone-made wings gradually took shape, but the wind and thunder force on them was not yet stable. So Feng Shi and other monsters continued to channel spiritual power to accelerate the solidification. Han Li sensed a strange fluctuation in his spiritual power, which was detected and questioned by Feng Shi. Han Li took out a small bottle of spiritual liquid. Feng Shi learned that the spiritual liquid had been diluted by the 10,000-year-old spiritual liquid. But after identification by the poisonous flood dragon, it was confirmed to be non-toxic, and the 3 monsters shared the spiritual liquid equally to replenish their magic power and avoid overdrafting their vitality. Han Li battles the 9th grade monster beast, Feng Shi. Han Li takes advantage of Feng Zai's sudden indisposition during the monster beast's demon pill attack. He attacks the Lai Feng Shou with the Azure Essence Sword and Sword Chi Bees. Yet he is unable to penetrate its protective treasure. Feng Shi and the other 2 8th grade monster beasts attempt to neutralize the spiritual liquid medicine and in the process, Han Li notices their bodies shrinking. Han Li tries using the 2 great swords to attack the tortoise monster and poisonous python. But even immobilized, the monsters are able to resist his attacks. Han Li unleashed a swarm of gold devouring beetles, piercing the poisonous flood dragon's scales. However, the flood dragon's poisonous blood dissolved the bugs. Han Li then released more bugs, weakening the toxicity of the flood dragon. Eventually, the bugs devoured the beast. Han Li noticed the flood dragon's inner core attempting to flee. He used his sword energy to knock it down and released the Weeping Soul Beast to absorb the demon essence. The Weeping Soul Beast's yellow light trapped the demon essence, but the essence's blue light resisted. Han Li intervened and directly captured the helpless demon essence. Han Li realized that the flying sword was ineffective against high-level demonic beasts because of their coarse skin, long cultivation time, and strong defense. The defense of the flood dragon and the turtle monster was extremely high, and even Han Li's flying sword could not break through it. Han Li was temporarily unable to deal with Nascent Soul stage monsters and 8th level monsters because of the vast gap between the core formation stage and the Nascent Soul stage. Han Li considered using the dry blue cold flame, but it was difficult to control and could backfire. Han Li decided to take the risk and use the cold flame, taking advantage of the moment when the monsters could not move to kick them into the earth fire pool. The split wind beast escaped from the earth fire pool with its treasure protection and harbored a grudge against Han Li. Han Li used the blood-colored cloak to escape, but found the wind spirit energy in his body acting up. Fortunately, he managed to suppress the abnormality in time. The spirit wind energy in Han Li's body gradually subsided, and the riftwind beast relinquished control. Han Li seized the opportunity to escape and flew to an unfamiliar wasteland. Due to exhaustion of its magical power, the riftwind beast stopped its pursuit, planning to first resolve the internal threat before chasing Han Li again. On a wasteland, Han Li discovered the wind thunder wings, acknowledged them as his, and stabilized their spiritual feathers with the heavenly tribulation divine thunder. Han Li mastered the technique of the wind thunder wings, igniting them to form wings composed of spiritual energy. Infused with lightning power, Han Li executed the thunder escaping technique, teleporting amidst the rumble of thunder. 30 days after arriving at the former site of Melody Sect's market town, Han Li found it deserted and empty. He encountered a group of cultivators that included a burly man surnamed Yi and Shu Yun, who had both failed to form gold cores and were still in the late core formation stage. Han Li inquired with the burly man surnamed Yi about the secret market of Melody Sect and learned that it would open on Twin Peak Island in a month. Han Li traveled to Twin Peak Island in advance, found the entrance to the secret market, and restored the appearance he had when he last visited the market. The gatekeeper, an old man, recognized Han Li and was respectful, asking about Han Li's purpose for visiting. Han Li visits a sect, intending to use their teleportation array to travel to the inner sea. Madame Fan informs him that the array is not yet complete and will require some time to repair. She invites Han Li to stay overnight, assuring him of her hospitality. Han Li agrees to stay, but not before giving Madame Fan a meaningful glance as he leaves the hall. Madame Fan's subordinate, Yun Qin, questions her decision to host Han Li, but Madame Fan dismisses her concerns. Han Li encounters Mrs. Fan, who recognizes him by his aura and tells him about rumors surrounding the Void Heaven Cauldron and the insect demon. Mrs. Fan asks Han Li to eliminate Yun Tianxiao, but she reveals the position of the puppet sect master within the Heavenly Sound sect and requests Han Li help in locating a stolen jade slip and finding her close disciple. Mrs. Fan promises Han Li rewards from the Heavenly Sound sect's treasury and a virgin female cultivator in exchange for his assistance. Han Li and Madame Fan arrive at a small island near Twin Peaks Island, intending to search for the musical note sect disciples guarding the teleportation array. Madame Fan sends her subordinates to summon the disciples guarding the teleportation array and explains the situation to Han Li, mentioning that there are 8 musical note sect disciples and some foundation establishment stage demonic cultivators brought by the former Visect master, Yun Tianxiao. Han Li decides to deal with Yun Tianxiao's men alone, while Madame Fan summons her subordinates. Han Li makes his stance known by silently killing an old man in blue, led by a female cultivator. Han Li and Madame Fan arrive at the stone gate leading to the teleportation array. Han Li shatters the stone gate with one blow, rushes into the passageway, and kills 2 foundation establishment stage cultivators. Upon entering the main hall, Han Li finds the teleportation array and 3 slain corpses. Madame Fan compliments Han Li's formidable magic power, while Han Li expresses his interest in the teleportation array. Madame Fan expels Yun Tianxiao's followers and awaits his appearance in the market. 5 days later, Yun Tianxiao and Master Miaohuo enter the market together, which shocks and worries Madame Fan. Han Li learns that Miaohuo is not Yun Tianxiao's loyal ally and suggests that Madame Fan lure out Yun Tianxiao and kill him quickly, preventing Miaohuo's interference. Madame Fan agrees to the plan but worries that Han Li will oppose her after his identity is revealed. Han Li warns Madame Fan not to harbor ulterior motives, or she will face the consequences. Madame Fan swears loyalty and takes a poison oath to the heavens. Han Li enters hiding to prepare for his move, while Madame Fan pretends to be calm in the hall. Someone breaks into Yun Tianxiao's house and discovers that Yunkin is missing. Yun Tianxiao becomes alert and questions the mont's identity. Han Li appears, briefly fights Yun Tianxiao, and kills him. Taoist Miaohuo appears and engages in a battle with Han Li. Madame Fan arrives and explains, asking Miaohuo to let Han Li go. Miaohuo suspects Han Li's identity, and Han Li's true appearance is revealed, showing a manifestation of the wind spirit energy rampage. While Han Li is on the run, his wind spirit force is activated, but he is relieved to learn that the teleportation formation on the island is almost complete. Void Crane attempts to use soul bewitching melody to tempt Han Li, but Han Li unveils the deceptive tactic and accelerates towards the island. A NINTH grade crackwind beast appears out of nowhere, so Han Li escapes with his thunderwing flight technique and reaches the island first, with the crackwind beast reverting to its original form to give chase. Void Crane also arrives at the scene, mounted on his blood crane's tail, in pursuit of the crackwind beast. The crackwind beast transforms into a human form and joins Void Crane in the sky above the island. Han Li teleports away from the rending beast's pursuit while He fiercely battles the beast. Several months later, the Jiaolong clan launches a major attack on the nearby waters. causing heavy casualties among high-level cultivators. Han Li uses the grand teleportation order to teleport to Wangming Island, where he coincidentally encounters the core formation middle stage skullhead. Seasoned warrior Ku is ordered to deliver a message and lead the way, presenting a token as proof of his identity. Elder Ding of the Green Sun sect introduces the mission, requesting the assistance of free core formation cultivators in capturing Yuan Yao, a fugitive criminal of the sect. After forming her core, Yuan Yao murdered the young sect master and stole valuable treasures, earning the Green Sun sect's relentless hatred and a bounty on her head. The skull-headed evil man agrees to participate and inquires about Yuan Yao's whereabouts. The elder warns that Yuan Yao is cunning and possesses magical treasures, cautioning the three cultivators to be wary. After learning of Yuan Yao's location, Han Li decides to intervene to rescue her and retrieve an important item. After breaking Yuan Yao's illusion formation, the elder from Green Sun sect and his accomplices discovered that Yuan Yao had already escaped from the back mountain. The skull-faced man and the ruffian pursued Yuan Yao, while the elder and others attacked the entrance to his cave. Yuan Yao was forced into a corner and used a formation to stall for time. But the elder used his sword light to disperse the thick fog. Using his mountain cleaver, the ruffian attacked the stone door. Suddenly, the skull-faced man discovered that Yuan Yao had escaped, and everyone rushed to give chase. Han Li stood there watching but did not join the pursuit. Han Li threw the head of the surnamed Ding elder to shock the ugly man in the skull. Han Li released more than 20 flying swords, which shocked his opponents, who realized he was not an ordinary cultivator. The skull and the brute escaped. Han Li cast Swordlight Shadow Clone to pursue them, and the two were cut to pieces by the flying swords. Yuan Yao appeared, recognized Han Li, and was grateful to him for saving her. Han Li intended to discuss matters with Yuan Yao, and Yuan Yao Richingda invited Han Li to her cave Fu. Yuan Yao gave Han Li 10,000-year spirit liquid as a token of gratitude for saving her life. Han Li gave Yuan Yao 2 bottles of pills refined from the inner core of a 6th-level monster beast, which Yuan Yao was happy to accept. Han Li requested for Yuan Yao to provide him with the capturing spirit formation secret technique from Green Sun sect, and Yuan Yao gave him a book on formations. Yuan Yao recounted her past, where she was almost made a concubine to the young master of Green Sun sect, and after murdering the young master, she took the treasure and escaped. Han Li expressed understanding of Yuan Yao's choice. As in the world of cultivation, one could not be blamed for doing what it took to improve one's cultivation level. Yuan Yao needs to perform the soul restoration technique to save her senior fellow disciple, Yan Li. However, this requires her to be in a profound yin location. Han Li, who owes Yuan Yao a favor for saving his life, agrees to protect her for several days while she performs the technique. Yuan Yao informs Han Li that the soul orb has not been fully refined and that any flaws could cause him headaches. She then gives him the latter half of the refinement technique. Yuan Yao plans to use the soul return shoe, and Han Li agrees to provide array protection. Due to lack of preparation time, Yuan Yao cannot fully defend against external threats, and Han Li decides to arrange arrays. Han Li uses over a dozen giant ape puppets to arrange 4 or 5 arrays around the valley, to block foundation establishment stage cultivators. After Yuan Yao's preparation is complete, she activates the arrays. Yin energy gathers, and the arrays operate normally. Yuan Yao explains to Han Li the consequences of her shattered Dan, but expresses her willingness to sacrifice herself for her senior sister. Han Li stops trying to dissuade her, and Yuan Yao begins to cast the soul return shoe. Han Li monitors outside the valley and discovers the great commotion caused by the soul return shoe, which attracts cloud cover for over 10 miles. Nearby sea region cultivators might be alarmed, and Han Li prepares for the possible arrival of powerful enemies. The Mei siblings and the elder Mr. Zhao encounter a strange omen on the island and speculate that it is a bad omen. Mr. Fu follows Ms. Mei and expresses his love for her, but she refuses him. The Mei siblings and Mr. Fu go to a small island to search for treasure because of an argument. Elder Zhao looks from afar, hinting that the trio will become a stepping stone. Mr. Fu ignores the danger and chases after Ms. Mei. Elder Zhao talks to himself, commenting that Mr. Fu is in trouble because of love. A mysterious figure appears, warning Elder Zhao and others not to touch the treasure. Elder Zhao respectfully asks to meet the senior. But to no avail. Han Li is prepared to deal with possible cultivators and is fearless of Nascent Soul stage seniors as there are few cultivators here. The Mei siblings and the man with the surname Fu explored the island and found celestial signs, but were driven away by core formation stage cultivators who had set up restrictions and used high-level puppets. An elder surnamed Zhao suspected that the appearance of core formation stage cultivators meant that a treasure had appeared. But he did not know the details and did not dare to intervene. The Mei siblings wanted to leave, but were forbidden by a white figure, who demanded that they tell him about their experiences on the island. The white figure said that he would go to the island to check on the treasure and that no one was allowed to leave until he knew the details. A flash of red light dissipated, revealing a group of female cultivators at the Foundation establishment stage. They stood neatly and solemnly on either side of the beast carriage. Inside the beast carriage, a man and woman discussed the situation on the small island where a heaven-defying spell was being cast. They believed the spellcaster's cultivation level was high and considered recruiting them as an enforcer. The woman asked the man how certain he was about the ghost fog appearing. The man explained that the appearance of ghost fog was often related to volcanic eruptions, and 2 underwater volcanoes had recently erupted in the area, increasing the chances of the fog's emergence. The woman questioned the man's motive for approaching the ghost fog, to which he replied that he was doing so to verify his calculations. Suddenly, the man sensed the presence of 3 nascent soul cultivators on the small island. One of them had a mysterious cultivation method, and the other had a powerful spiritual sense on par with his own. Piquing his interest, Han Li repelled the white figure and prepared to deal with the core formation ladder stage man. He discovered the valley array was surrounded, and Yuan Yao was at a critical moment. The man flew in with an extremely beautiful girl. Han Li intercepted them, suspecting they were from the Reverse Star Alliance. The man claimed to be a 6 Paths inheritor of the Reverse Star Alliance, demanding Han Li surrender or die. Han Li refused to surrender, instead proposing an exchange for the man's life. The man was furious, spewing out blue light. A fight was about to break out. The swarm of gold devouring beetles is controlled by the golden threads, causing severe losses for Han Li. Han Li deploys the garland ancient treasure to counter the golden threads, but its effectiveness is limited. The golden threads condense into a golden sword, breaking through the garland ancient treasure's prohibition. Han Li deploys the azure needle talisman treasure, resulting in a stalemate with the golden threads. When Tianren unexpectedly discovers that Han Li possesses the azure needle, questioning his relationship with Zenith Yin, Han Li unleashed black qi that enveloped his arm, expanding and releasing black-red rays of light as the Yin demon slash headed towards Wen Tianren's gray-white cloud. Wen Tianren used the calamity transmutation technique to replace himself with his left arm, which was severed by the attack and was then reeled back by a golden light. Wen Tianren summoned the phantoms of 6 extremes demonic arts, and the phantom with 2 horns repaired his severed arm with red mist. As the 6 extremes demon phantoms prepared to attack, Han Li summoned a colossal azure sword and cleaved it towards Wen Tianren. The tallest phantom swooped down and seized the sword. With the sword struggling within its grasp, Han Li uses the flower basket ancient treasure to block Yin Zhong's sonic attacks. Wen Tianren recognizes that Han Li wields the heretical lightning and becomes wary of him. Han Li manipulates the azure sword to set up defenses. Wen Tianren grows a single horn from his forehead, exuding a powerful aura. Wen Tianren proclaims himself invincible at the core formation stage, but acknowledges Han Li as an adversary. Faced with a replica of Wen Tianren's 8 Gates golden mirror, Han Li recognizes its formidable power and decides to avoid direct confrontation, using the speed of his wind and thunder wings to evade. Wen Tianren utilizes the golden mirror, sending out 8 golden beams of light that effortlessly penetrate Han Li defenses, including his shadow-splitting sword art, 5 elements giant ring, and the protective energy shield. Han Li employs his wind and thunder wings to flicker and dodge the beams, while Wen Tianren similarly uses the Scarlet Fire escape technique to change his position, preventing Han Li from counter-attacking. Wen Tianren unleashes a barrage of golden light, trapping Han Li, who struggles to break free despite wielding his wind and thunder wings to the limit. Han Li is trapped by Jin Yan, but with the myriad year spirit liquid, he is fearless of an endurance battle. Wen Tianren's Jin Yan and golden light come at a great cost. Han Li remains calm and collected, preparing to strike back. The battle reaches a stalemate, with both Han Li and Wen Tianren sitting down cross-legged to recover their spiritual power. Ziling observes the situation but does not intervene. Outside the island, cultivators anxiously wait, unaware of what is happening. The island remains quiet. Nearby cultivators gradually arrive and, upon learning that Nascent Soul cultivators are on the island, do not dare to trespass rashly. The Reverse Star Alliance's female attendants guard the beast chariot, deterring some cultivators. Upon hearing that a Nascent Soul cultivator, Wen Tianren, is on the island, other Nascent Soul cultivators dare not provoke him and hastily depart. Around 30 to 40 cultivators have gathered outside the island, but none are Nascent Soul cultivators. Han Li uses the spirit liquid to support the gold light shield, waiting for an opportunity to escape. Wen Tianren's magic power is severely depleted, and he begins to plan on capturing Han Li companions as hostages. Fairy Ziling hesitates over whether or not to follow Wen Tianren's orders, and a female cultivator in the Foundation establishment stage flies over from the distance. Han Li nearly falls from a great height but steadies himself with his smoke ascent technique. Han Li magic power and divine consciousness vanish. His treasures have lost their light, and he cannot use his storage bag. A black ghostly fog rushes in and Han Li is taken into it, disappearing in an instant. Han Li is teleported to a pile of pitch-black fish and shrimp, his body feeling uncomfortable and unable to stand. A woman falls from the black lightning and lands on Han Li, trapping them both and leaving them unable to move. Han Li and a woman find numerous fish and shrimp and take shelter. An unknown man appears and captures the fish and shrimp but is scared away by a fire-scale beast. Han Li regains mobility and searches with the woman for a safe hiding place. They find the Mont's footprints and smell blood, and continue tracking. They find a blue light exit, through which they pass. Han Li is captured by an intruder and questioned about his identity. A rare eruption of aberrant spirit chi causes an unusually large spatial rift, transporting Han Li and a woman to the netherworld. The netherworld is perilous, haunted by yin beasts, and the remaining villagers must toil relentlessly to survive. Han Li and the woman discover their magic power is suppressed but their physical abilities remain superhuman, and they follow the villagers to their settlement in search of a way to restore their magic power. The villagers unlock a hidden exit but seal it shut afterward, preventing the yin beasts from entering. The villagers move with practiced swiftness and agility, indicating past martial training. Han Li suspects the netherworld's phenomenon of suppressing magic power is related to the eruption of aberrant spirit chi. The villagers spot a yellow sandstorm in the desert, recognizing it as fellow villagers approaching. A group of guards show surprise at fish and prawns, hinting at a possible food shortage or scarcity of such seafood. The village is surrounded by high stone walls, with all buildings made of dark stone, and a stone platform in the center emitting purple mist, suspected to be a magic formation or restriction. There are several halls in the village, and an elder is likely a cultivator. He confirms Han Li and Mei Ning's identities as cultivators and explains that spiritual power cannot be used in the netherworld, and only netherworld force and martial arts can be utilized. There are 5 to 6 other cultivators in the village, including the elder. A loud noise is heard, and the village elder organizes the villagers to defend the stone walls, indicating that such an event has happened before. The Colossus spews a freezing gale to fend off arrows and spears, and releases a flurry of dark beams when provoked. Villagers hold up large shields to block the beams. Ranged attacks are ineffective, but purple tendrils successfully ensnare the Colossus limbs. A burly man hurls a giant spear, pinning the Colossus to the ground, triggering cheers from the stone wall. As the Colossus spins to its death, it flings a giant club that threatens the villagers, but a middle-aged man with white hair deflects it, saving the crowd. The villagers slay the Colossus and sever its head to retrieve a green gemstone, similar to one found amid the automaton wreckage. Han Li and Mei Ning are trapped in the netherworld, unable to recover their magic powers. The old man speculates that the netherworld may be a rift between the underworld and the mortal world, or the belly of the demonic beast Rahu. The netherworld contains a nullifying aura that suppresses all cultivators' magic powers. The old man informs them of a method to escape the netherworld, but it requires immense strength. Han Li discovers a peculiar circular stone disc etched with runes and array features. The long-bearded elder Wu Long Hai, Pao Huan Zi, suggests that the disc is a type of stone talisman, combining runes and arrays, but with reduced power. The village utilizes Yin Soul Beast Core and arrays to cast spells. But the Yin Soul Beast Core is difficult to obtain and is controlled by the elders. The stone disc normally requires the infusion of Beast Core energy for daily use, without embedding the Beast Core directly. However, this approach wastes the groove designed during its creation. On his way, Han Li encountered curious villagers but eventually reached his destination. Pushing open a heavy stone door, he entered an old stone house. The air was filled with the smell of decay, and the interior was lined with dozens of stone tablets containing cultivators' experiences and a few dull magic tools. Han Li found the insights left by a nascent soul cultivator, learned about the taboos of nascent soul formation, and was overjoyed. The other stone tablets were useless until he came to the last one, which contained a dense mass of tiny characters of scripture in the language of the demon race. Han Li was thrilled. He memorized the scripture, knowing that it would allow him to decipher the cultivation methods of the demon race, which would have many benefits in the future. Han Li misunderstands that a middle-aged man surnamed Feng has evil intentions towards Mei Ning and feels pity for her. Mei Ning refuses the middle-aged man's love, which makes him angry and vengeful. Han Li hears the noise and rushes to save Mei Ning, but discovers that the middle-aged man has murderous intent towards him. Han Li displays his supernatural abilities to confuse the middle-aged man and subdue him. Han Li gives the middle-aged man a taste of his own medicine and breaks his arm. Han Li is confident in climbing Storm Ridge alone, but he cannot take others with him. Mei Ning suggests using her Jade Wind Marrow body to restore some of Han Li mana in exchange for Han Li taking her away from here and fulfilling another condition. After confirming that Mei Ning has a Jade Wind Marrow body, Han Li contemplates whether to accept her proposal. Han Li meets Mei Ning, who takes the initiative to propose infusing him with her spiritual energy. Han Li suggests doing so mouth-to-mouth. Han Li kisses Mei Ning, arousing her desires, and after a brief struggle, she gives in. Han Li reminds Mei Ning to infuse him with her spiritual energy. Mei Ning opens Han Li's storage bag, from which he takes out the required materials. Mei Ning learns that Han Li is a nascent soul cultivator and is astonished. Han Li sends a gold devouring worm into the residence of a middle-aged man with the surname Feng. The middle-aged man screams and dies, and Han Li takes advantage of his illness to kill him. After his magic power and divine sense are exhausted, Han Li returns to his residence. Mei Ning is fast asleep, and Han Li covers her with a monster skin. When Mei Ning wakes up, Han Li asks her to make high-level beast skin clothes to resist the cold wind. Mei Ning agrees and begins to make it. Han Li takes out a flying needle magic weapon from his storage bag. Elder Longbeard and others visit Han Li, introducing two fellow practitioners from the Great Jin country. The three of them inform Han Li that the middle-aged man surnamed Feng was bitten to death by an unknown strange insect. And Han Li remains calm and collected. Han Li and Mei Ning refuse to join the cultivators' plan to seize power and decide to leave the village. The three cultivators inform Han Li of the dangers of Stormy Mountain, including the powerful yin beasts and yin wind illusions. Han Li expresses his determination to still attempt to scale Stormy Mountain, and will only consider joining their plan if he fails. Mei Ning declares her support for Han Li's decision and declines the cultivators' invitation. The three cultivators, unable to persuade Han Li, depart, but believe that there are still opportunities to bring him around to their plan. The headmaster of the Heavenly Talisman sect entrusts Han Li with the formula for refining the sect's ultimate technique, the Soul Descent Talisman, in the hope that Han Li will bring it back to the sect if he has the opportunity. Han Li doubts the special nature of the Soul Descent Talisman, but the Heavenly Talisman sect's headmaster claims that successive headmasters have only passed down the formula as a legacy and have never refined the talisman themselves. Han Li agrees to take the formula back to the Heavenly Talisman sect but emphasizes that he cannot guarantee whether he will travel to the Great Jin Kingdom. The Heavenly Talisman sect's headmaster states that the Soul Descent Talisman requires the essence of a form transformation stage demon beast as its primary material, making it extremely difficult to refine. After killing two specter beasts, the cultivators Han Li and Mei Ning ask the villagers if they have seen any outsiders in the area. The villagers tell them they discovered a pile of bones that could belong to the person they are searching for and lead them to the village storehouse. Mei Ning identifies the remains as her brothers, causing her great grief. She decides to abandon the search and go straight to Stormy Mountain. Han Li decides to collect the Nether Beast Crystal first before returning to Stormy Mountain. In the underworld, the towering Stormy Mountain radiates an ominous aura, a realm inhabited by creatures of darkness. A giant ape carrying Han Li and Mei Ning approaches Stormy Mountain and defeats the last formidable beast. Han Li leads Mei Ning in choosing a direction and begins scaling Stormy Mountain. After ascending the first 1,000 zhong with ease, they encounter fierce underworld winds. Han Li produces a wind-deflecting pearl to shield them from the cold. Upon hearing footsteps, Han Li calms Mei Ning as Wen Tianren and Zi Ling emerge. Han Li duels with Wen Tianren, who evades Han Li attacks using his 4 symbols coiling dragon belt. Han Li surprises and kills Wen Tianren with a small sword. Zi Ling explains the 4 symbols coiling dragon belt's power. Han Li retrieves Wen Tianren's treasures, and Mei Ning meets Zi Ling. Han Li acknowledges Zi Ling's non-intervention on that day. Zi Ling explains and apologizes, but Han Li expresses no resentment. Han Li and his company encounter numerous flying yin beasts, and the giant ape soul-weeping beast confronts them. Han Li manipulates 10 small swords into a sword net to defend against the yin beast's attacks and kills a bald eagle yin beast. Han Li expands the scope of the sword net to protect Mei Ning and Zi Ling. Several days later, black mist appears on the surface of a dead sea. Silver light emerges from the black mist and is suspected to be Han Li escaping. The black mist continues to expand and exhibits black electric arcs. Han Li flees thousands of miles away with Zi Ling and Mei Ning, and the three embrace intimately. The carcass of an azure-scaled sea beast reveals a strange substance called Xin Ya Beast. Han Li confirms this place to be the Boundless Sea, characterized by its vastness and lack of islands or resources. Han Li, Mei Ning, and Zi Ling attempt to fly south in search of land. During their journey, the trio gets along well, although Han Li remains concerned about Nangongwan. Several months later, the trio arrives at Minzhou in Nanzhong, Heavenly South region, and rests in Fengri City. Han Li reveals his Heavenly South origin to Mei Ning and Zi Ling. Han Li refused Purple Spirit's offer to have Mei Ning become his concubine, as he was determined to become an immortal and believed it was not suitable for him to have romantic relationships. Purple Spirit tried to persuade Han Li, arguing that his cultivation at the late Nascent Soul stage was sufficient to protect Mei Ning. However, Han Li countered that he had many enemies and was unable to provide her with adequate shelter. Mei Ning asked if Han Li would be willing to take her as a concubine after he had advanced to the core formation stage. Han Li stated that he was unsure whether he would reach that stage and that it was a distant goal. Han Li gifted Mei Ning with a monster core to help her refine pills. Purple Spirit urged her to accept it, suggesting that they could live a carefree life together. Han Li gazed out the window at the bustling streets and recalled the past. His expression downcast, Han Li realized that the pills he had been taking were no longer effective in enhancing his cultivation. Speculating that it was due to either developed immunity or the after effects of the azure blaze wine and spirit-inducing qi, Han Li planned to seek a land abundant with spiritual veins for his cultivation and considered joining a cultivation sect. Due to the limited spiritual veins of cultivation families and the difficulty of infiltrating them, Han Li prioritized targeting the 3 great sects of the Cloud Dream Mountains, which occupied the largest spiritual veins. The landscape of the Heavenly South cultivation world had changed the righteous and demonic paths. The 9 Nations Alliance and the Heavenly Dao Alliance jointly occupied the Heavenly South. Han Li considered 3 sects and finally decided on the Falling Cloud sect. The Falling Cloud sect is famous for its alchemy. Its requirements for accepting disciples are the lowest, and it has certain requirements for spiritual root aptitude or cultivation foundation. Han Li went to the Falling Cloud sect mountain gate, encountered an illusion formation blocking his way and saw through it. He joined the ranks of cultivators waiting to join the Falling Cloud sect, and his divine sense detected the conversations of the receiving cultivator. Learning about the situation of the Falling Cloud sect, loose cultivators were surprised and nervous to see 3 disciples of the Fallen Cloud sect on the platform. The 3 disciples announced the Fallen Cloud sect's recruitment standards: loose cultivators under the age of 20 with special spiritual bodies, 2 or 3 spiritual roots, and a basic cultivation level of 6 or more would be given priority for examination. 4 people who met the requirements stepped forward and were taken away by the pale-faced youth for qualification testing. Loose cultivators with cultivation levels of 10 or more were required to undergo screening before they could join the sect. The remaining loose cultivators who did not meet the requirements could participate in the test. But the difficulty was extremely high. Han Li and 7 other loose cultivators with cultivation levels of 10 or more were asked to undergo screening using a magical weapon wielded by the energetic young man. Han Li noticed a secretive sinister coldness emanating from a bearded man, which caught his attention. Han Li and his companions are brought to Heavenspring Summit. Along the way, they encounter the enthusiastic but snobbish Brother Yan and the talented Brother Miao. Brother Miao asks Brother Yu to select 2 disciples from the new recruits for talisman making. But he is refused. Brother Miao scrutinizes Han Li and his companions closely, making Han Li suspect that he has been paying attention to the goateed man. Brother Miao casts a heart-scrutinizing talisman, preparing to test the new disciples. Brother Miao leaves after coughing, leaving Han Li with a sense of unease. At the towering 6 Extremes peak, the main summit of the Falling Cloud sect, numerous cultivators and structures gather at the foot of the mountain, forming a bustling marketplace. Han Li and 6 other cultivators are invited to the 6 Extremes peak and await an audience with the sect leader in a stone hall made of azure stone. Moments later, a young man surnamed Lu arrives with 4 cultivators of exceptional spiritual root aptitude. The atmosphere between the 2 groups becomes slightly hostile. A young man surnamed Yu leads Han Li and the others into the Grand Hall, where there are Foundation Establishment cultivators, including sect leader Wei Yiming. Wei Yiming announces the assignment of disciples, and the Elder of Hidden Sword Peak proposes to accept a disciple with a body of forged metal. Fire Cloud Peak objects, claiming the disciple should belong to them. After Uncle Yu's guidance, Han Li and the burly man went to the foot of the Tianchuan Peak to meet their Grandmaster. The Grandmaster arranged for 2nd Elder Brother and 5th Elder Sister to mentor Han Li and the burly man. 2nd Elder Brother taught the burly man how to make talismans while 5th Elder Sister guided Han Li. Acquired the Blue Jade Slip Black Ice Resolution, Green Jade Slip Herb Cultivation Manual, and Yellow Token controlling the formation. Constructed a secret cave in Shaoxi Mountain. Arranging a concealment formation. Transplanted the 9 Ben Spirit Ginseng into the cave. Establishing an insect room and a spirit beast room. Preparing to refine the soul resonance pearl to clear the wind spirit force in the body. Arrange the giant ape puppet to guard the medicine garden. Mew is indifferent to Han Li, and Han Li is happy to be left alone. Han Li comprehends the soul-trapping magic circle and conceals the ore of his cave after setting up the formation. Han Li refines the soul-chanting bead and successfully expels the evil spirit of the wind spirit force. Han Li cultivates both the Grand Evolution Scripture and the Azure Essence Sword Art at the same time to strengthen his divine sense. Han Li studies the demonic script and translates the Beastskin book. Obtaining the 9 variations of Gale Speed Technique and the Wind Concealment Technique Secret Technique. Han Li is interested in the Blood Shadow Escape Secret Technique in the Beastskin book and believes it can enhance his ability to escape and hide when paired with the Wind and Thunder Wings. Han Li studies the demonic script on the copper plate, but is unable to comprehend it due to its incompleteness. Kui Huan, an outer sect disciple, seeks help from newcomer Han Li, asking to borrow high-year yellow essence from the herb garden that Han Li manages. Kui Huan and his fellow disciples capture a snowy cloud fox in the swamp to sell. But they discover a strange snowy cloud fox with low-level Yao Shou characteristics that escapes and hides deep in the swamp. Kui Huan plans to use yellow essences over 50 years old to lure out the snowy cloud fox. But he lacks spirit stones to buy them, so he asks Han Li to borrow some from the herb garden. Han Li refuses to lend the herb garden's spiritual herbs but is willing to lend Kui Huan spirit stones to buy them. Kui Huan is overjoyed but doubts that Han Li has more than 30 spirit stones in funds. Han Li agrees to help Kui Huan and his group find the snow cloud fox. The next day, Han Li heads to the rendezvous point, flying with a mid-tire flying sword artifact. The other 4 are late, and the most powerful of them, Senior Brother Wang, has an extraordinary bearing. Han Li reveals that he earns money by refining talisman seals and can refine middle-tier spirit seals, but with a low success rate. Han Li, falling into a miasmic basin, easily resisted the miasma with his washed marrow and altered meridian constitution. Senior Brother Wang led the team to an open area and, using yellow essence, prepared to attract the snow cloud fox. They set up a 5 elements labyrinth array to trap it. Han Li, holding the labyrinth banner, was responsible for casting the trap array. Everyone in the sky stayed hidden in the array, waiting for the snow cloud fox. Hours later, Han Li sensed the presence of the snow cloud fox in a thicket with his divine sense. And he alerted the others. As the snow cloud fox emerged, it noticed something unusual as it approached the yellow essence. Senior brother Wang gave the order, and the 5 elements labyrinth array was activated, trapping the snow cloud fox. The demon fox feigned death, injuring the careless young man's palm. Han Li tracked the demon fox, discovering its lair underground, and pursued it into the cliff face of a massive mountain. The demon fox carried a similar aura to the transformed white hare. Piquing Han Li's curiosity, Han Li encounters a young woman in black and discovers that her cultivation base is unfathomable. The young woman points out that Han Li is concealing his cultivation base and introduces herself as a cultivator in the late Nascent Soul stage. The walls of the stone chamber are made of lapis lazuli, which can absorb the spiritual energy of spells and magic treasures and can self-repair. Han Li accepts a mission to deliver a letter and acquires the Lingen Jade. The Lingen Jade contains a metamorphosing bull, which can aid in cultivation. A young woman reveals that her legs are trapped because a cultivation technique has made her bloodthirsty. The young woman was trapped in a lapis lazuli building by her friends and family, and the key is in her friend's possession. The friend has disappeared, and the young woman has been trapped ever since. The lapis lazuli building prevents divine consciousness from escaping, making it impossible for her to call for help. The divine fire chain is connected to the young woman's soul, and if it is broken, she will die. Han Li's arrival provides an opportunity for the young woman to be released. The jade box talisman terrified the young woman, who got up to dodge it, but triggered a restriction and was pulled back to her original position. The jade box flew towards the young woman, and the talisman radiated golden runes, landing on her shoulder, emitting green smoke and a piercing cry. The young woman covered her face, extended sharp claws and attacked Han Li, who blocked it with a jade ruyi. The green mist emitted a strange sound, and a pungent and poisonous smell emerged. Han Li released a fireball to dispel the green mist, and discovered a humanoid greenford monster on the stone platform, bound by silver chains. The azure flying sword was unable to harm the monster. The corpse ghoul is sealed by a golden talisman, and its spirit may be sealed in a jade box. Han Li finds a spirit jade on the corpse ghoul and wonders where it came from. Han Li decides to take the jade box with him for research, but he will not open it immediately. The snow cloud fox is found in the corpse ghoul's abdomen. Han Li realizes that the snow cloud fox is unusual and discovers that it has the ability to transform and attack. Han Li's jade talisman becomes ineffective, and he suspects that the small yellow wolf is different. The snow cloud fox speaks human language, which surprises Han Li. Han Li engages in a fight with a vixen, but she escapes using her shape concealment art. Han Li uses the soundwave attack from his silver bell to force the vixen's transformation to revert. Han Li injures the vixen with his sword energy, but this is revealed to be an illusion. The real vixen releases spider silk from the side to attack Han Li, but it is blocked by the fire attribute light shield from the jade ruyi. Han Li discovers that Little Wolf and the artifact spirit within the jade ruyi have transformed into a silver giant wolf. The giant wolf attacks the vixen, revealing her true form and making her cry out in horror. The artifact spirit of the white fox possesses the body of a demon fox. Learning that the jade ruyi has been destroyed, the artifact spirit will also dissipate. The white fox transforms into a human form, calling herself Yin Yu. Yin Yu does not know her own origins, only remembering that she is a Yin Yu wolf tribe. Yin Yu's innate ability is soul devouring, allowing her to temporarily inhabit other bodies. Soul devouring has many restrictions and cannot be used at will. Yin Yu successfully possessed the four-pupil spirit fox because it had previously been possessed by a corpse demon. Han Li questions if Yin Yu intentionally fell in his hand to acquire the Void Heaven Spirit measuring ruler. Yin Yu explains that she can't drive the ruler for long due to her damaged cultivation, and she chose Han Li because he's pleasing to the eye and she doesn't hate his cultivation method and appearance. Han Li asks if Yin Yu observed his actions through the spirit measuring ruler, which Yin Yu admits. Knowing all the details including about the sky reversing bottle, Han Li killing intent soars, claiming that Yin Yu's leakage of information could bring disaster and questions her survivability. Yin Yu analyzes the difference in their strength, admitting that she has a 30 chance of winning, but she believes that Han Li won't kill her because she once saved his life. Yin Yu proposes to move her main Nascent Soul into the Azure Bamboo Bee Cloud Sword to become its artifact spirit, where she will be under Han Li complete control, eliminating the secrecy risk and gaining a physical body. Han Li contemplates for a long time, questioning if an artifact spirit can break away from its host and why Yin Yu would willingly become one. Yin Yu explains that she can break free through her own willpower and with Han Li's assistance. And she yearns for freedom, willing to sacrifice for the freedom of possession. Han Li and the White Fox planned to deal with the corpse devils. But the Golden Devouring Beetles could not devour the toxic corpses, so they had to give up. The White Fox sent out the Yellow Wolf, and together with Han Li, they escaped from the cave. Discovering that senior brother Wang and the others were anxiously waiting, Han Li successfully captured the White Fox and handed it to Kui Huan for safekeeping. Senior brother Wang suggested dividing the spoils 3070, with Han Li receiving 30. Han Li left on the pretext of having business, and the White Fox followed him guided by the Jade Ruyi. Han Li transaction with his senior brothers Han Li and Wang Kui went awry, and the Snow Cloud Fox disappeared from the green cloud pouch. Senior brother Wang promised to repay the spirit stones that Han Li had loaned to him. But due to a shortage of spirit stones, he would need some time to raise the funds. Han Li showed understanding and magnanimity, stating that he would not pursue the matter of the lost spirit stones. Senior brother Wang intended to befriend Han Li, but was disappointed that he could not repay the spirit stones promptly. Han Li was surprised to learn about the sword testing convention that would take place in half a year's time. Senior brother Wang explained the circumstances surrounding the sword testing convention, and mentioned several young cultivators within the sect who were promising candidates for the event. Han Li is shocked to learn that the trial by sword Dawei will see Qi condensation and foundation establishment disciples compete together. The highlight of the event is that the top 10 finishers will receive spirit water to bathe their eyes, enhancing their vision. Qi condensation cultivators rely mainly on powerful magical artifacts, mostly gifted by seniors in the core formation stage. The soul-fixing pill and bright moon spirit water are both valuable rewards, which excites Han Li. Han Li discusses his plan to participate in the trial by sword Dawei with the White Fox. Han Li prepares to enlighten the artifact spirit of the Azure Bamboo Bee Cloud Sword, while the White Fox is responsible for extracting the Silver Moon Demon spirit from the Jade as you wish. Han Li learns that the clear and bright spirit water is useful for high-level cultivators and plans to acquire the spirit root of the spirit eye tree to refine an elixir and clear and bright spirit water. Han Li encounters a female cultivator surnamed Mu, who takes him to Heavenly Spring Peak. The female cultivator surnamed Mu asks Han Li if he cultivates the profound ice arts and reveals that this technique can become Han Li's main cultivation method. As Han Li and the female cultivator surnamed Mu approach Heavenly Spring Peak, they are intercepted by a cultivator surnamed Yan. The cultivator surnamed Yan intends to pursue the female cultivator surnamed Mu, but she firmly rejects him. Han Li attends a gathering of disciples at Heavenly Spring Peak, drawing attention. Dutong, a hulking man, claims Han Li's mentor, senior martial uncle Mu, is a beautiful female and tries to extract information about the gathering. Han Li intentionally frightens Dutong away to avoid trouble, but Yin Yu suspects Dutong may have deduced Han Li's suspicions. Han Li observes the disciples around him and notices that young female cultivators are highly sought after. The Peak Master of Heavenly Spring Peak summons the disciples to the Heart Cleansing Hall. Inside the Heart Cleansing Hall, two cultivators sit at the front, the scholarly white robes and the grim-looking gray-clad elder. Upon hearing of the sect selection trials, the disciples, including Han Li, were eager to participate. The middle-aged cultivator announced the rules, emphasizing the prohibition of lethal techniques and magic tools. He then had senior brother Miao, a young man with the surname Miao, explain the precautions. Han Li returned to his cave residence to prepare for the trials the following month. He selected his magic tools, refined talismans, and mastered the flame control technique to conceal his true abilities. On the eve of the trials, the main peak of Luo Yun sect was bustling with activity as numerous cultivators gathered to watch. The trials were held simultaneously in 3 different arenas. The first 2 days had already eliminated some of the disciples, including those from Han Li Heavenly Spring Peak. Core formation disciples were exempted from the preliminary rounds and would compete against the winning Qi refining disciples in the final round. The Immortal Ascension competition unfolds, and Han Li faces off against Xuan. A young man from the heavenly Yang fire lineage. Xuan releases a fire attribute protective shield and a fire wave bead Dharma treasure. Han Li uses 3 or 4 dozen firecracker talismans to shatter Xuan's shield. Defeating him, the other disciples are shocked by Han Li's extravagance. Seeing him as the child of a wealthy family, Han Li enters the arena again for the second round of the competition. Drawing much discussion, the Falling Cloud sect's internal trials were coming to an end, and the Nascent Soul stage cultivators were discussing who would lead their delegation to the sword trial assembly. Elder Feng, an old man with a white beard, suggested selecting a leader for the delegation, but no one volunteered. Elder Duan, an old man in a red robe, volunteered to lead the delegation in order to prevent the ancient sword sect from showing off. And Elder Yu, an old man in a gray robe, assisted him, when they learned that Senior Sister Song would also participate in the assembly. Everyone regretted it, because Elder Feng had already made an agreement not to inform them in advance. After the final round of the trials, the list of selected candidates was sent out, including 3 Foundation Establishment Stage disciples and 21 Qi Refinement Stage disciples. Foundation Establishment cultivators analyzed the reasons Han Li and Du Dong qualified for the final round, speculating that Han Li's proficiency in talisman making due to his extensive use of fireballs and martial techniques. Core formation cultivators discuss the allocation of disciples, with Heaven Spring Peak and Fire Cloud Peak competing for Han Li. Senior brother Feng suggests assigning Han Li to Fire Cloud Peak. Upon returning to his cave, Han Li discovers that the soul-devouring beast has evolved. The chamber is filled with ghostly energy and a jet-black cocoon appears. Han Li waits outside while the beast evolves. The black light cocoon bursts, consuming the ghostly energy and releasing a familiar yet foreign aura. Opening the stone door, Han Li finds the black light cocoon withered with no trace of the soul-devouring beast. Black light materializes and a tiny black monkey the size of a fist flies into Han Li's arms. He recognizes the evolved soul-devouring beast, noting its black fur, a small nostril below its nose, and other changes. After cultivating in seclusion for 3 months, Han Li is informed by Kui Huan that his talisman crafting abilities have been leaked. But he is unconcerned. The enigmatic Mu visits Heavenly Spring Peak to instruct Han Li in his cultivation of the profound ice arts. Han Li receives a sound transmission talisman summoning him to Phoenix Cry Peak to be instructed by Matriarch Song, a female Nascent Soul cultivator. Phoenix Cry Peak has a rule that male disciples must announce their presence before entering, and Han Li complies. Han Li ascends to the peak, locates the Phoenix Cry Pavilion, and pays his respects to Matriarch Song, being awestruck by her divine abilities. Disciples of the Institute of Ingenious Creations greeted the Ancient Sword Sect and the Fallen Cloud Sect. Cultivators of the Ancient Sword Sect arrived on swords, including a short, ginger-haired elder, a Confucian scholar in a green robe, and a young woman in white. A robust elder of the Institute of Ingenious Creations surnamed Fu welcomed the Ancient Sword Sect but avoided the topic of the Fallen Cloud Sect's delayed arrival. Fairy Song of the Fallen Cloud Sect led the arrival of her sect, her heavenly spirit root and core formation talent being highly regarded. The Fallen Cloud Sect arrived riding on a massive, glowing blue eagle, causing envy among the Ancient Sword Sect cultivators. The young Han Li unexpectedly wins a one-on-one competition with the use of talisman charms. The short elder is shocked and embarrassed by the defeat of his Ancient Sword Sect disciple. Yao Feng, the elder in red, casually explains the reason behind Han Li's use of talismans, causing displeasure in Zhang Yun. The Confucian scholar points out that Han Li's footwork resembles Immortal's lightness technique. The elder in red acknowledges that Han Li, a rogue cultivator, has diverse knowledge but praises his skillful application. After 2 days of the first round, the Ancient Sword Sect's sword cultivators show clear superiority. Han Li's opponent in the second round uses a flying magical artifact but is defeated when Han Li transforms a talisman into a firebird. The other disciples realize that Han Li does not solely rely on talismans, and they begin to reassess his ability. Hearing that the Ancient Sword Sect disciples are in secluded meditation for pill concoction, the transmission man expresses regret. The Ancient Sword Sect disciples teleport to the 100 Ingenuity Pavilion. High-ranking cultivators from each sect agree that 3 of them will accompany 10 disciples to the holy site. The elderly man in red leads the top 10 disciples from the 3 sects to the stone chamber. where the disciples from Luo Yun sect perform exceptionally well. Han Li intentionally loses and ranks 9th, while Du Dong falls to last place. Han Li plans to acquire the spirit root and pill recipe of the spirit eye tree, borrowing the fixing spirit pill from the ancient sword sect disciples if necessary. The disciples teleport to a foggy restricted area and are informed they will only be allowed to stay for 1 day and 1 night.